This is a neat little engine here that was part of this kit, and I'm hoping that you can see how dirty and grimy he is. He's been put away for a while, and we put him on the test track earlier, and he he didn't do very well. He's been sitting in a storage box somewhere. Now the upside of this is, and I'm going to spin around here and let you see the back of him a little bit. He looks like he's pretty intact. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the tripod now. And now I'm going to bring the little guy up here and put him in front of you so you can get a little bit better view of him. Strangely enough, this was in a box, and there was a lot of things in the box that were mixed up, but he seemed like he was in pretty good shape. All of his rails look good, his horns are in place, his bell's there, the bottom end looks pretty good, but he's got some issues. Now I'm going to turn this up here and I'm going to try to get in close. Can you see the wear and the buildup on the wheels there? Well, those create traction problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically take this little guy out of his frame. We're going to, well, I'll tell you what, let me do this. Let me just go ahead and set him on the track here and let you see how he's performing, and then we'll see if he performs any better later. Alright, so we're off. We're going to put some power on. You see my little test track? Alright, you can hear that. Listen. Yeah. Yeah, I'm at full. Whoa, there we go. But you can see he's very jumpy. That's at about 50% power. Just reversing him backwards and forth. He's sounding kind of grummy in there. Alright, so now we got that. We're going to turn the power back off and we're going to pull this back in here where we were. Okay, first thing first, be careful and go slow. Do not be in a hurry when you're doing this sort of stuff, especially if you don't understand the engine. Now this is an AHM, I believe, and I've had absolutely no experience with these engines, so being the old guy that I am and having worked on cars before and some engines before, I think I can probably feel my way through this. Of course, I'm using my little mat here, and we're going to sit here, work this guy out. Okay, that's the fuel tank cover. There's the weight that goes on the bottom of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay this guy over to the side, and we're going to keep moving on. Now if you look closely at the bottom of this engine, you'll see, and remember I'm upside down, you'll see right in here there's a screw there, there's a couple clips here, and there's a screw right there. So looking this guy over, I'm going to give you a hint here. If you look at the back of him right here underneath the carriage, you see that white tip? That's part of the shell. If you flip him over to the front, there's no such creature under there anywhere. So what that tells me is that most likely once we remove a couple of screws, we'll be able to pull this end up and slide this end out. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to sit here now. Again, I'm going to take him, lay him in here, but be conscious of your handrails if you're using this foam, and don't press them in there too hard. So we're going to take this screw out here, and we're going to lay him over here to the side, and we're going to take this guy out here, and we're going to lay him over to the side. Now another hint, FASHA's remodeling of a hobby model engine tip of the day: don't go beyond your capabilities. Okay, we live in an internet age, and you can probably find everything that you need to know about these engines online. Before you delve into one, make sure that you have a way to put him back together, and I'm going to show you a neat little trick for that here in a minute. Alright, we got these two screws out, so we're going to pull him up here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look for little spacers. Okay, I don't know if you can see that or not, but we've already got a little crack in here separating the shell from the carriage. So what we're just going to do here, very lightly, is we're going to start taking him apart. Remember this clip back here, it doesn't push in, it's a pop in and holds. So what we're going to try to do, get my hand out of the way, is to bring this guy up ever so carefully and then pull forward, and that clip comes right out. See that little clip there I was telling you about? Goes in that hole right there, but it's not a press-in clip. Okay, so now we got old boy apart. You can really see how nasty he is in there. I'm going to turn this viewfinder up so I can see a little bit better. But you can really see the dirt. Look at that original color that was on that guy, and how much dirt and crud has built up over the years. Well, we're going to get rid of that. Alright, well, let's set him over here for the moment. Let's look inside the shell. Looks pretty clean in there. Looks pretty good, but again, we can see the crud built up on the hood there. We're going to get rid of all that. So let's go ahead and take the weight out of here. Alright, nice lid weight. We'll put him over there. Always have a system for how you take one apart. And what we're going to do now is we're going to set this guy over here for a moment. And I'm going to show you my second tip of the day. Can you see that okay? Cool. Check it out. Cell phone. Open it up. Go to camera. Put your camera right over where you're working at. Snap a little picture. Boom, got one of the back, one of the middle, and one of the front. And now, when I get ready to go back here, if I'm a little bit concerned about where a wire goes, all I have to do is look back at my photo. No note taken, what have you. Okay, what we're going to do now, so we can have this guy all set up nice and neat to dry while we're working on the rest of this, we're going to go to the kitchen and we're going to break out some mild dish detergent and some warm water, and we are going to clean this guy up. Better yet, I think we'll do it and bring it in here. So stick around, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So we got some warm water here in a little bowl. We got us some soap put up here on the side. And not a lot of water, so we're just going to give old boy here a bath. We're going to drop him in here, roll him around a little bit. Not going to take the glass out because we don't know to what extent the glass is in there, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Alright, we're going to break for a second, put him in here, but we're not going to let this soak. We're going to go take and give it a good rinsing, and then we'll set it aside and we'll start on our chassis. Alright, be right back. Alright, we're back, and we've got rid of our wash basin. And now what we're going to do is, with a soft rag, we're going to go around and we're going to pat this guy. Don't rub him dry, okay? Rubbing takes off paint, it takes off decals, it takes off little special things. And you never know when you might have a loose thread get hung on a horn or something and break it off. Now, let's move back over here to the engine. The fun part. Alright, and see what we can do about taking this guy apart without loosening the connections. And the first thing I believe we're going to do is take the trucks off. Alright. It's always handy to have tools with you. I got this little pick. I've been carrying it around for a number of years, and it seems to work pretty good. I'm going to make a small camera adjustment here so you can see what I'm going to be doing. If you'll notice, the wheel covers here on the back have a clip on the back, but nothing on the front. So that leads me to believe that if we pop this one clip, it'll come out of here. But pop is a harsh word, okay? Very harsh word. Because remember, you're dealing with something that could be 10, 15, 20, 25 years old. It's been baked in the sun in an attic or in a garage or wherever. And you don't want to force it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come under this, instead of coming into it with a screwdriver, and we're going to come in behind it, and we're going to give it a light tug. There we go. Alright. So now, as you can see, we're into the gears here, and this is just going to slide right off that front end there. The front of the truck goes up there into that slot. I'll show you how she goes back there when we get back to putting her back together. Alright, so we're in, and the first thing I see is a big old glog of bleh. We need that out of there. Okay, so now we're sitting here. Got our trucks. Alright, let you take a look inside there. I'm going to call this piece here a motor mount. But basically what it looks like it is a flashlight mount. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get back to our handy screwdriver, and we're going to lightly push in there and lightly push in there, and that's going to allow this guy to come out. Now go gently here now. Go gently. You got wires and soldered ends and stuff, like I said, that may have not have been messed with in a long time. Okay, here's what I see as the motor mount, which is this piece right here that's clipping onto the side of the truck, and this piece here. So what we're going to do next is going to take that apart. There we go. And voila! What I tell you about things popping up. Okay, I don't know if you can see this little ridge right here. That little bridge right there. This hole in this motor mount went over that and held it in. And I believe, okay, now we got to, let's see, how are we going to do this? Looks like the motor mount strut. Alright, so now we got the motor mount strut right here, and it comes over the top here. So what we're going to do is, we're going to try, if we can do it with our fingers. Yeah, it's working pretty good. Going to push those in, and basically pull out this mount right here. This line slid back on there. Come on back in there. We'll try this with the screwdriver. Take them, push them in, falls into your hand, put that over there, your motor mount. Now, with that said, looks like we'll slide right out of there, and because we don't want to screw up the connections. Okay, we're back. Thought I was recording. I'm an idiot, but I wasn't. What we ended up having to do was use a soldering iron. I'm going to try to get in here close for this to loosen the solder connection here and pull the wires out. Basically what you have here is this is your power pickup. You have your wheels. Wheels touch the track. The inside of the wheel goes up on this boy right here, and then that gives you power up to your cord. I thought I had it recording, but I didn't. So what we're going to do is we'll move on with this, and I'll show you how I did it in a second. Okay, so we got the front trucks out. Now we're just going to pick up on the motor here, make sure everything's good as it should be, and we're going to slide the motor forward, and we're going to just pull it, wiggle it very carefully up out of the chassis, okay, and the flywheel is just sliding off right there. You can see how they go back together right there. Alright, so now we're going to lay this over to the side, and we're basically going to repeat what we did up front. We're going to come in here now, do the same thing that we did a while ago. So now I'm going to try to zoom in here so you can see this, and you want everything as steady as you can. Now I'm telling you, if you don't know how to handle a soldering iron, don't be messing with this. Alright, let's see if we can make an adjustment here so you can see where I'm working at. Alright, this little connection right here is what we're going to try to break. And we're going to do that by using a soldering iron and very carefully go, oop! Haha, you see how quick that was? I'll slow it down for you. Alright, so there's that. Now we're done with the soldering iron, so we're going to unplug it. Alright, now we're going to zoom back out, and now we can slide the motor housing out of the frame, and now we got our frame able to work with. So these are some things that you might want to do if you're into detailing a lot and you want to make sure the frame is nice and clean. You can see we got some shiny oil right here. Don't know if you can see that right there. And lots of dirt on the walkways here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the back over to our water bowl, and we're going to wash this up, and we'll be back in a little bit and go into the motor housing. Thanks, guys. See you in a minute. We're back. All right, we're back in here this evening for part 2 of this series, and I wanted to go ahead and take an opportunity here and show you the shells that washed up here. Got nice and clean. Hope you can see the difference based on the other video. If I can, I'll pull another pic out of it, show them to you. Inside's nice and clean. The frame we cleaned up very nice indeed. I hope you can see that. I'm sort of working with the light here. You remember it was dusty and covered up with ages of dirt. And as you can see, we haven't lost any of the painted on logos that were on here. Even this guy right here, it was we kept them all on there, again using a toothbrush. Okay, we're back. These are some of the things that I want to talk to you about. If you can see this, and I'm going to bring it in slowly on the viewfinder there, and hopefully you can. This is factory grease, I want to hope. You can just get you a paper towel, go down through there, clean it up pretty good. If you have any stubborn areas, just grab you a Q-tip, come through here, clean that out. Inspect for cracks, hairline fractures. Now this here is one of the mechanical sets of wheels. You can see the one side, this side over here, how it's got that grease all built up on it, and the other side's nice and clean. Well, this is the side the gears run on, and I'm going to bring up one of the gearboxes here. And again, I apologize, I'm upside down, but there's no real good way. I'm not upside down, the camera is. There's no real good way to do this and me do it. But what happens here is these little guys, they go behind the power pickup here. You just hold that down with your finger. You put it in there and give it a little snap, and she's in. Now, the way these things work is this is your flywheel. This hooks into your motor, and then as this turns, these gears turn down here. I hope you can see that. Make sure that you know, there's no cracks in that. Make sure it sounds right. And I'm going to show you a neat little trick here for this that I found if we can do it. And I've just got the positive and the negative here from the power pack. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm just going to start this little motor up. Turn it where you can see it. Can you hear that? Giving a little bit more juice. Now there's a small vibration, if you can see it. There's a small vibration in the flywheel collars here, and there's a little bit of a vibration in the motor, and I just don't know if that's because of the age of the unit or if there's something wrong in there, and I'm deciding on whether or not we're going to go in and look at this or not. But the reason I wanted to show that to you is because what we're going to try to do here for your viewing pleasure is put the yoke into the flywheel collar here, and I'm going to try to hold this guy as lined up as possible. Look at that. Ugh! That big old chunk of grease that just fell out of there. That ain't good. So I'm going to try to turn it slowly here, and hopefully it'll stay lined up. And if the wheels will stay in there, yeah, this one doesn't want to stay in because it's turning the other way, but if you can see that, that's how your wheels are going to work. That's how your gears work. Alright, so now with that, and that noise you hear is me binding it. Now that you've got that figured out, if you want to go that far, listen, let me tell you right now, I am not responsible for your actions. If you tear this thing down and blow it up, catch your house on fire, get beat by your parents, your wife, or your husband, don't call me. I didn't do it. Alright, so now with that said, as we talked about earlier, these wheels go in gear side, but you just want to come in, you want to trap that pickup and put it on the inside of that wheel, because your wheels are going to pick up power from the track. They're going to transfer it by touch to this brass power pickup, and then that is going to go back here and reattach to that wire when we solder it back together. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to lightly scour these guys a little bit, just enough to take the dull off. A lot of people talk junk about things, but as you can see, all I'm using is a fingernail file. What, about 15 different ways? Can you see that? Can you see the difference in it? Should be blinding you. Alright, so that's cleaned off. Now we're going to go back here. We're going to do the other side. Okay, can you see the difference in them? I sure can. Alright, just a little bit of that. Alright, now we're going to go back over here. And this thing has a little bit of grease all over it right over here on the outside. I don't know where that came from, but we're going to get rid of that. Alright, so we got this one here. Get back down in there. Things will have a tendency to work loose on you sometimes. Alright, so now we're just going to do the same thing to this one, and we'll be right back. Alright, so those are good to go. We're going to set them over there. Now we're going to take a look at the wheels. Now there's a couple different ways you can do this. I'm going to put this up here so you can see. You can probably see the grease on that wheel. There's a couple different ways you can do that. These wheels are designed to come off here and pull apart, but unless you've got a track gauge, I wouldn't do that. And we'll talk about that in a later program. And resist the temptation to try to hold one and spin the other one. If they're good and tight, leave them good and tight. Now, all we're going to do here, take a Q-tip, run it in here, get some of this excess off, and here's why. Again, your contacts touch the inside of these wheels, so you want these guys nice and neat, nice and shiny. So all we're going to do on the contact side, which is the gear side, and actually look at that, can you see that little burn mark right there on that wheel? Makes you wonder what was going on with that. If that ends up to be a high spot, it could cause you to break connections. Oh, look at there. It was grease. Imagine that. Now it's gone. So now we're just going to take that Q-tip, break it out of there. There's a little hard spot right there. So what we're going to do is take the fine side of this file. We're just going to lay it in here. Basically all we're doing is shining it up a little bit. We're not trying to change the weight of the wheel. Okay, so can you see that now? See how shiny that wheel is in there? Nice and good, and the goop's off of it. Alright, now we're just going to do all these. Clean the dust out, if any. There we go. Now, just so you can take a look at that sand, that little fingernail file, that's how much goop was on it. So now, some people call it corrosion, they call it what have you. It doesn't matter what you call it as long as you get it off there. Now, if you're not prepared to take your trucks down to this level, let me show you a quick little thing here that I'm going to do. And I'm not going to lube these now because I'm going to take them back apart again to get back into the truck. So we're going to come back in, we're going to capture our pickup here. So if you take it down to this point, and I don't know, can you see that on that wheel right there? Can you see that, those globs, those dirty, these dirty spots right here like that one? Those are going to cost you problems when your engine gets on the track with contacts. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera, well, let me see if I can bring this over here a little bit. I'm going to bring in the motor, make sure the power's off, and I'm going to lay the motor in here, and I'm going to put the flywheel into the collar, and I'm going to give it a little bit of juice and see if it'll keep it there. And it seems to be doing just that. I'll zoom in here for you a little bit so you can see. Adjust the camera down a little bit. Put you in the middle. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this same file and lightly put it on one of the treads here, or we can put it on two of them at one time, and then we're going to hold them down. We're going to give it a little bit more power, and we're just going to let it rub on that wheel a little bit. Just let it go around. I'm going to let it do this one, not hard, but just a little bit. And voila. What do you think about that? Let's see. Let it give it time to focus here. Nice and shiny. Old and busted. Nice and shiny. Old and busted. And some of you guys my age will know what we're talking about. So now, what we're going to do now is we're going to put it back in here, and we're just going to do the other side. What we're going to do is take him out. Whoo, nice and pretty. Where's the other wheels? Can you see the difference in the? Oh, I'm in too close. I'm sorry. Here we go. Can you see the difference in those wheels? Look at that. God, this in my hand right here is just nasty. Okay, so these are nice and clean and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break loose here and go do the other ones, and we'll be back in a jiffy. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take them out. What do you think about that? Can you see the difference? Man, I can. Alright, so those are good to go. Now we're going to take them back apart, and we're going to pop our little trucks off here, little wheel covers off. Alright, we got a little bit of build up over here underneath the flywheel rod. So we're just going to take that off. See that? Get that out of there. It don't need to be in there. We'll check this other one while we're at it. Yeah, he's got a little bit on him. Check this out. Look at this. Is that not nasty? Ugh. Alright, so we're good to go. We've cleaned our wheels. We've cleaned our power pickups. And now we're going to turn the power back off on the motor. Get it away from us over here. And what I use is a Teflon oil. I'm not going to tell you which one. Let you choose your own. But what I did is I took a Visine bottle, cleaned it out. I put the Teflon oil in there on it. And all I want to do here is just come right in here on this main gear. Not this one, but the one right under it in the bottom down there. And I'm just going to put one drop. There we go. That's all we need. I'm going to turn it a little bit. See how she's doing. And then I'm going to put her back over here, and I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to put one drop right in there. Now you may ask why I had the Visine bottle. Well, the reason I used the Visine bottle is it's better than holding the big bottle. And the big bottle wanted to let stuff run out too fast. You only need a little in this stuff, guys. Alright, so we're going to widen our screen back out here. Okay, so at this point, we're ready to put her back together, but we can't put her back together until we put her back to the frame. Now, with that said, I'm going to do something here that I'm not completely sure that I want to do, but I'm going to look at it anyway. If you look in here on the motor, right in here where I'm looking at, you'll see up here you'll see your power connections, and under these little plates is a little bushing. You see how nasty and dark that is right there? I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to take a screwdriver, and we're going to slide this plate out just a little bit, and doing it very carefully, because you don't want to damage anything. what we're going to do. And there's probably a spring in there. See how that comes out? Can you see this? Right under here, there's a little spring. And I'm going to put my finger over it, because if I don't, and it comes out of there, we'll never find it. I'm going to grab a pair of little needle's nose here, and I'm going to very carefully work this plate out. I can feel that spring. Alright, hold on a minute. Yeah, boy. Oh, easy. Cover it with your hand. There she is. Now, if that little thing had gone across the room, probably never would have found it. So we're going to lay it right here, and if this goes like the rest of them, that bushing just might fall out. If not, we're just going to come down here, give it a little room, and there it is. Now that's, let me put it in these pliers so you can see it. This is the end that your spring goes on, and this is the end right here that rubs up against the motor, and you can see how dark that is. What we're going to do is we're going to clean that up. But my camera tells me that we're running out of memory, so I'm going to stop right here and swap over to the other memory card, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Now I'm going to try my best to show this to you, but I don't know if I can do it or not. The part that rides on the engine, if you can see it here, it's hollowed out a little bit right up in this cavity. So if you come to sand this thing and it goes flat, going to be bad news. So what we're going to do is we're going to take something, probably this screwdriver here, and we're just going to go up in there and we're going to scrape it backwards and forth in that little valley and try to get the goof off of it. You can see it's coming off in my hands right there. This little thing is, I think it's made out of copper. It might not be made out of copper. Whatever it is, it's very soft. And we're just going to stick it down in here. We're just going to rub it backwards and forth. And voila, it worked great. So we're just going to turn this thing up around. Now, I don't know that you're going to be able to see this, but I can certainly see that it's nice and clean. Now the next question is, how can we get that clean down in there without tearing everything up? That I don't know, but we're going to work on it. So make sure that you put it back in like so. I'm going to take my little pick, straighten it up at the bottom, get in there. And she's down in, and now we're going to put our spring back in, and oh Lord, don't let this thing get away from you, please don't. We've got our little bushing set in there, and now we got our little spring on here. And what I'm going to do here is something I've done in the past, and it normally works pretty good. I'm going to use this pick, and I'm going to take the pick and I'm going to try to shove this little guy in here. Okay, that's not going to work, so I'm going to go with the screwdriver, and I'm going to push the spring down in. Now this is, I'm telling you, this is real careful, dicey kind of work here, because if that spring gets away from you, you're done. So I'm going to go off camera here just for a minute while I'm holding that spring down. And what I'm doing is I'm holding the spring in with the screwdriver, and I'm pushing the cover over it. So I'm just lightly pushing it in and easing the screwdriver out, and just very gently pushing it down in and working that cover back in. Okay, you can see now I've got the spring down in there and the screwdriver out. Now I should be able to take this out. Yep, okay, now you see just the edge of the spring right there, and what we're going to do now is push that over it and cover it up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do this other side, and we'll be right back. Okay, alright, so that one's in. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to trim up a, actually I'm going to put the the power back on this guy, and we're going to use a Q-tip here and maybe an eraser, and we are going to stick this motor back in here, let it run a little bit. Alright, power on. Alright, now I don't know if you can see this or not, and I'm going to try to do it without the contacts touching, but as you can see, can you see that little flicker in there now? Nice contact being made with those bushings. Listen to that motor. Look at that. Can you hear it? Hear how smooth it's running? Yeah. Alright, now what we're going to do, we're going to lay it right here with our power off until we get situated. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an eraser and a little craft knife, and I'm going to cut it up, if I can find my little tool, as I'm going to very carefully trim down some of this eraser. And all I'm doing is making a tall, narrow little tool. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put this on the pick here, like so, and now we're going to go at it. Can you see what I'm doing with that guy? All I'm doing, wow, look how pretty that is. Can you see how nice and shiny it is in there now? All I'm doing is taking, ooh, look at that, that's nasty. Just putting it right there, rubbing it backwards and forth, and cleaning it up. God, it's beautiful. That motor. Listen to that thing. Hear how good it sounds when you have all the gook and build up on it, off of it, and it's making good contact. Okay, so now it's time to put little girl back together. Alright, so now let's see, let me clear some room here. Let me do one thing, and I shall be right back. Don't go away. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our nice shiny wheels. Make sure your hands are clean for when you're getting ready to do this. Line it up here. Catch your little metal contact. Put your wheel in. Come over here. Do the same thing with this one. Trap it. Bring it down. Now, what we could probably do here along this same line is change out the trucks, but let's see if we, not the trucks, but the metal pickups. So give me in a second and I'll be right back, and we'll go ahead and put some new couplers on this thing. Basically all we're going to do is take this bad boy, lay it in the truck right here. Actually, we'll go ahead and start this insert from the bottom here so it'll hold them in there, and put this there, put that there, snap that there, and we're good to go. The smart thing to do here first is to put your motor in, and you'll notice on here there's a couple little notches back here on the back of the motor. Can you see those? Right there and right there. Well, they hook in these notches here, and we're going to get our wire. We're going to run our wire down through the bottom. Put it right here. We're going to go ahead, push this wire down through the front here. Make sure that these come around here. Oh yeah, you see there, it's about to mess up. This guy goes on this side and that guy goes on that side. So all we want to do is make sure we got enough room. Now this is going to be the tricky part, and that is putting that bad boy back on there the right way and making sure that we don't burn the coupler. You know, matter of fact, we live and learn, right? Let's go ahead, get our screwdriver back out. Let's take these wheel covers off. So we got that guy out. We'll put him right there. We'll put our hook there and our wheels there so we don't have a problem. Well, woe is me. I forgot to hit the record button and you missed it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you on this one right here. it turned out nice and neat. We had it hold her with our alligator clip right there and everything went great. So we're just going to repeat the process over here. What we're using is our alligator clip to hold down our contact here. And we're going to come in here with the wire. Now this is going to be a little bit funny because the way it's got to be done, it has to come in from the back to have the room. So what I'm going to try to do here is do it in a way that you can see, and I still have enough room to do it, but bear with me because I'm going to be doing this left-handed. And I'm not real sure how that's going to work out. So here we go. I'm going to grab the wire, I'm going to bring it down here, put it on the contact, come in with the tip, get it hot, yep, there we go. And all I'm doing is heating it and pushing it down in it. And there you go. Just that quick. Nice contact. We're making some headway. Make this thing a little straighter here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to start at the rear first, and I'm going to push the motor back forward so I have enough room to work everything back under here the way it should be. Alright, so that ends in. Now we're going to come over here. We're going to take our motor. We're going to place it back down in here, if you can see that. I'll give you a view of it here in a minute, but we're going to line our flywheel connector up here, or whatever y'all want to call it. And this is the little rascal that flicked everywhere the other day, so we're going to line it up back good. Everything's in there. We're going to take our motor, get it lined back up the way it should be. Alright, so our motor is into where it needs to be at, and I think we'll probably go ahead, no, not yet, we want to bring our other truck up from the bottom. So we're going to bring this guy up here from the bottom. We'll go ahead and put our front motor mount on, and he's there. Now we'll take this piece here, and we're going to push it back down to the frame to hold our headlight. And make sure that we're out of everybody's way in here. And the last piece should be the motor mount itself, which goes right here. And she's clipped in. And everything looks good. So before we get too far ahead of the game, what we're going to do is move the soldering iron out of the way. Bring our handy dandy test track back over and make sure that she is running. Alright, now we're going to put them here on the track, and if everything goes the way we want it to, it won't blow up. Let's see, so power on. Nice, really nice. Look at this. A little jumpy at low speeds, but that could be because she's just getting broke in real good. Alright, so we're satisfied everything's working the way it should be. So we're going to go ahead and put the weight back in the shell here on the back. So we're going to put our clip in the back. And checking our wires all the way around. Looks good all the way around. Nothing shaking out. So what we're going to do is put our 2 screws into the frame here. And then we're going to put our weight on the bottom. Give it a quarter grunt. And there she is. What you think? Looks nice, huh? Nice and clean. Yep, last test run here. Let's see here. Cool. Alright, well there you go. I'll see if I can do some before and after pictures of these wheels, how she's nice and cleaned up. So she's ready to go now and go back out on the line. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Please rate, comment, share. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. This is AHM FASHA and we're out of here. See ya. Bye.